everybody has a hobby, CBC,
That's on you. You knew this class was going to be tonight. I don't know what y'all want me to do, because you wasn't
Alrighty, you guys. Here. We are about to get started in 2 seconds. One, two, right? We're just trying to make sure that everybody gets in, you guys. There's a lot of people in this class. And once I start, I don't want to stop. So we're just finalizing, letting everybody in, making sure everybody's on mute. And we will get started very, very shortly. Do I need the clicker or no? This? All right, you guys. So I want to thank you guys for joining the Business Registration Bootcamp. We are going to get right to it because I want you guys to really get the fullness of all that this class has to offer. A little about me, if anybody has caught me on social media, I'm Casey Cooper of the Compass Circle. I'm a federal contractor. I started 13 years ago with one dump truck, and over the last 2 years, I've been awarded almost $6 million in government contracts. I have really scaled from a small business making about, 2, 3, 400,000 into, what I am now, but I'm able to do that because of the customer that I work for, which is the federal government. It's really about working smarter and not harder. A lot of us as minorities and women-owned companies, we don't know about these opportunities that are out here. Opportunities, even through different certifications, perceived disadvantages of being a woman. A lot of times people look down on that, but there's certain set-asides that you can actually use to your advantage. So we're pretty much going to cover that tonight and just, uncharted territory. Literally, when I was trying to jump from $400,000 a year to $1 million, the companies that were already doing $1 million, wanted nothing to do with me. But the companies that were on the 200, 100, 200, $300,000 a year basis, I had already surpassed them. So it's literally, I always make the analogy of leaving Earth, going to Pluto. You don't know what's out there. All you know is nobody's telling you, what happens after the fact. Again, my largest contract I was awarded was last year's a $5.5 million transportation contract. And we're going to get right into the presentation. I want you guys to first just think a little bit about business as a whole. A lot of times when we go into business, we have these ideas and we want to do this and that, but we kind of fail to really give a lot of thought to where's our money coming from. Our money's coming from our customers. So I just want to give you guys a little bit of a breakdown to kind of take the limits off of your mind. I know a lot of times if we go and open up a barbershop, we're thinking about giving one haircut. Or, if you're a doctor, you're thinking about doing one visit. But I want to challenge you guys to open up your mind and think of doing business with larger entities, such as the ports. Okay, I have a really extensive trucking background. So I get a lot of the trucking community that come to me for help. A lot of us run in and out of these ports, but we don't actually go to the port and present ourselves as a company who can, haul a nice little volume for that port. Overseas in different conventions, any business that you guys can conjure up, there's always some type of association, some type of convention, something that you can get involved in to kind of, cut that learning curve. The private sector, whether it's whoever your customer is just presenting yourself on that level. Again, you can't build a castle one brick at a time. Sometimes you need, a couple of trucks bringing you bricks. Government contracts. I mean, I do business with the government now, but I didn't always do business with the government. Also, too, aside from government, meaning the federal sector, there's also local, which is, whatever state you live in, your state has a local government. All of those states also do business with small businesses and also your state. So instead of trying to get, again, one customer, one haircut, one customer, you can go to these different agencies and get, 5 years worth of work. Airports is really big, especially for minorities. The work is endless because, as you guys, see, airports aren't really closing down. People are going to always travel. And they have a lot of different set asides and minority participation goals. Colleges and universities, that's really big, especially now. They're always what's the word I'm looking for? They're always expanding. And especially a lot of the HBCUs here, I live in Virginia, so Hampton University just got a grant to actually do a lot of construction projects. So they too also participate in a lot of minority set asides and things of that nature. So you want to go with who you know has money and who has opportunities. All right, so we're just going to get started. For anybody who's not in business, that is perfectly okay. Preferably, you guys wouldn't be, because you can just waste a lot of time trying to philander around. If you are in business, that's great. Kind of just catch in, fall in line wherever you are. If you're not, then you're going to be getting started literally right here with us. All right, so the first thing we're going to talk about is LLC versus S Corp. Okay, so pretty much, depending on which one you decide to go with, your LLC or your S Corp is just your company's overall infrastructure. It's going to determine, how your company is set up, who your offices are. It's going to determine also how you're going to be taxed. So the first step you have to do is decide on, your LLC or an S Corp, and that's going to have to be set up in your state. So whatever your state agency is here in Virginia, ours is called the SEC, State Corporation Commission. You would have to go to them. Right now, most people are doing things online, which is fine. The process doesn't take very long. I don't know the exact dollar amount because, again, this is all mandated by your state. My recommendation is, if you want to come to the federal market, I would do a kind of general name, because in the federal market, you will grow and expand to do other goods and services than you normally did. If you kind of have like, no, I'm doing landscaping and that's what I'm doing, then, that's fine. I just kind of say leave yourself room to have a general name, kind of like, Jones Solutions, because you just never know where you're really going to hit and make it big. A lot of people ask me on a day-to-day basis, should I do LLC or S Corp? It's going to completely depend on, your overall situation. But for most of us on this line, and most of us, you just don't want to become a C Corp. C Corps are for large corporations like Walmart's, and a lot of times it can hurt you. You'll be taxed twice. I would just say Google the pros and cons. I also had something listed on my page a couple of weeks ago, just giving you guys some of the benefits. It's not a decision that I can make for you. It's not a decision that you need to go based off of what your homeboy told you. I hear people say that all the time. You really need to just sit down and for 7 to 10 minutes, just Google literally the pros and cons of each. Contingent upon what you have personally going on, I'm going to give you guys some personal situations. Let's just say you're starting off new and you're on Medicaid. You haven't made $1, but you don't want to lose your insurance. So you might go with one or the other to protect that. For any men or women that have child support issues, you might have some assets that you may, want to protect. So you would have to decide on either one of those, which best for you. Moving along to the EIN numbers. EIN numbers are just employer identification numbers. It's just an identification number that's assigned to you from the IRS so that you guys can do business. Literally, it takes 5 minutes to get an EIN number. It's completely free. And we're going to head over in 1 second and go to irs.gov, and I'm going to walk you guys through literally how to do that. Here are the steps. So first, we're going to go over to irs.gov. So if you guys want to do that now, you can. I'll walk you through the steps, and then you'll watch me do it up until the point that I can't, because I already have mine, and I'm certainly not going to put all my personal information up here, but just so you guys can kind of see somebody walk through it. Here are the steps. You might want to screenshot this. And I'm going to pull mine up so that you guys can actually see me do it. Again, it'll be up until a certain point, just so that you can actually watch somebody do it. Yeah. Am I still sharing my screen?
Yeah.
Okay. So here we are, irs.gov. I love to go right to the search bar because you don't have to play with it. Type in EIN, hit enter. Hold on, you guys. All right, you're going to just scroll down. Apply for an employer identification number right online. You're going to scroll down here to apply now. Now, this is only after you already have your LLC or your S Corp, okay? So if you don't already have that, this is not a step you want to do yet. You want to wait until after you get your LLC or your S Corp. You're going to hit apply now. It's going to just have this little blah, blah, blah telling you, hey, this is only for authorized use. You click OK. You click down here and begin the application. All right, now depending on what you want to be, you're going to click on one of these. Preferably, I love corporations, me, myself, because that's all I've ever had is a corporation. I like that you can interchange the members. I just like I like the way you're taxed. That's just me though, based on what I what I have going on. You're gonna click on whichever one. So let's just click on corporations and hit continue. All right, it's gonna tell you a little bit about each one below. I'm gonna hit corporation because that's what I decided to go with. It's gonna tell you what a corporation is and what it's not. I'm gonna hit continue. And most of you are going to be, hey, I started a new business. So you're going to hit that. And pretty much this is fairly simple, you guys. I'm just walking through so that you can see it. You're going to fill in your information here. You're going to go down here and just keep going. This is not hard at all. You're just going to keep walking through. And pretty much in the next 2 to 3 minutes, you're going to have your EIN number. It'll download right to you after you come from here. Can you give me back to my screen, please? And that is that on the EIN. Now, if you guys are still going, go ahead and continue to finish up if you so choose, because you literally will have it in the next 3 minutes. Like, that's how easy it is. Again, that's free. And you will definitely need that in order to, grow and expand and to continue. So I'll leave this slide up if anybody wants to screenshot it. But we're going to go on to the DUNS next. And at the end, of course, you're going to submit your application. They're going to come back and say, hey, here's your papers, here's your EIN number. You can download it right from there. So you'll have it for your file. Literally, you'll have it right hot now, right there. Here again is the page where they're asking you, to determine your eligibility in the application. So I just put that in the presentation for you guys. Okay, next we're moving on to your DUNS number. All right, DUNS number is Dun & Bradstreet. It's a 9-digit number. Just to pretty much for your physical locations, it's just a formality. You guys have to have it. We're going to be looking at www.dnb.com. Again, this is completely free to just get a basic Dun & Bradstreet number. They have other tiers if you guys want to spend money on getting like your credit rating. I'm always about not having to spend what I don't have to spend when I don't have to spend it, especially if you guys are starting a new company, you haven't generated any income yet. So I'm going to list some of the steps here, and then I'm going to go over to DUNS and start walking you through. Now, a DUNS number is absolutely free. If for some reason you guys either just don't want to be bothered or feel like you can't do it, or for whatever reason, we do them here for you guys. They're $2.99 if we do them. You can go right to our website, www.thecompasscircle.com, and purchase one, but I am going to walk you through it right here and right now. All right, so this is the home page. All right, are you done? So I love a shortcut, but we can click right here on DUNS number. All right. So we're gonna go right here to get a DUNS number. Or if you think you already have one, you guys, feel free to go ahead and look it up. I've dealt with a lot of people in the past that actually had them and didn't know they even had them. So we're gonna click get a DUNS number. All right. And it's gonna start asking you a series of questions to kind of, see your primary reason. Your primary reason would probably be, I have a US-based business. Okay. Gonna click that. And then you're going to start filling in all of this information below. All right. There's only so far I can go because I already have one and I don't have like a mock situation I can give you guys. But pretty much you want to input your information here. It's going to take you to a search because in this part of the website is searching to see if you actually have a DUNS number. Again, this is a very common thing that happens, even with people that purchase DUNS number. A lot of people actually have DUNS numbers and they don't even know they have them. So right now, once you put in all this information, it's going to come back with a search. If it pops up that you do have a DUNS number, you just want to say, hey, email me a copy. If it comes up that you don't have one, after the screen, it'll say, get a DUNS number. It'll say, you know, free. And you just scroll down, input all the information. Again, it's very simple. And you're going to submit. DUNS numbers, typically they'll tell you the turnaround time is 30 days. I've seen them come back a lot quicker. But with the COVID-19, there have been some delays. So I can't really give you, you know, a general kind of turnaround time for it. It just depends. I've seen them come back in 2 days. I've seen them take, you know, almost a month. All right, so again, here are the steps. If you guys get lost, oops. And this is what the actual website looks like. Again, you just want to hit that DUNS number. You go down, and it'll pretty much walk you through. So if you guys have any questions, again, this doesn't take a very long time. If you guys were to literally walk through it right now, you would probably have your DUNS number or at least have submitted for it. And they'll come back with an email saying, hey, we got your submission. A member of our team will be contacting you, yada, yada, yada. Your next email should probably be, hey, this is your DUNS number, or they'll come back and say, hey, we need additional information. If they need additional information, don't feel any type of way. A lot of you guys with new EIN numbers and new LLCs and things of that nature, DUNS has to have some kind of way to track who you are and to, you know, verify that you are who you are. So a lot of times they will do like a verification with a member of their staff. So it's pretty, it's a formality. They're just trying to, you know, verify your actual business. Now we're going to get into SAMS. SAMS is actually the system for award management, and anybody who wants to become a contractor, meaning if you want to sell any goods or services to the federal government, this is the website you're going to have to go through. Website for SAMS is www.sam.gov. If you are working on a Apple product, you're going to want to access SAMS on Google Chrome, because Safari doesn't really always work with SAMS. Again, SAMS is free. SAMS is a little bit more complicated than the other two. But to start, you're going to have to go to login.gov and create an account. And I'm going to give you guys actually a couple minutes just to at least set up your account, so I know that that first part is taken care of. Login.gov is actually, you're going to create an account in login.gov. And login.gov is actually how you're going to initially access the SAMS website. And I'm actually go over to login.gov just so you guys can see what I'm talking about. Login.gov. Yeah. All right, so I already have an account here, but you guys are gonna come over to login.gov. Oops, you're already in here. So we're gonna take you out. All right, you're gonna come down here and it's gonna say create an account. You're gonna enter your email address. Preferably, you guys are going to enter your business email address, because what's going to happen is login.gov is going to then go to the email address that you give it to verify that it is an actual email address. Presentation. All right. I'm going to go kind of slow through here because I just want to make sure that everybody gets it. Okay. Now, after you set up your account in login.gov, a part of setting up your account is they're going to ask you, how do you want to authenticate or meaning verify, double check who you are. SAMS is a government website, so they want to make sure that nobody else is getting in trying to pretend like they're you. So there's two different ways that you can authenticate, your identity. One is you can put in your phone numbers so that when you access that account, they will give you or send you rather a code to your phone number. Another one is you can download an authenticator app. And if anybody does cryptocurrency or know anything about that, it's basically a running code. So when you go to access that website, it's going to say, okay, give me the code on your phone. That code changes every 30 seconds or something like that. And that's how it's going to authenticate that you are who you say you are. They're also going to ask you a series of 3 security questions when you're setting up your account to make sure that you are who you say you are. For some reason, if you get kicked out or what have you, and you need to go back, you can reference these 3 questions. Some of the questions are, what city or state did your significant other, did you meet your significant other? What city and state were your parents born in? What city and state did you have your first kiss? A lot of times when we set people's up, a lot of times you just will probably never lose your password or whatever, but in case something fluke happens, it's kind of, you might want to make all of them the same answer. You might not, it just kind of depends. And I'm trying to think of some other questions, like what was your first job? They're going to ask you questions like that only you would know. So in the event that, you lose any of this stuff, you can come back here. I've never lost mine personally, but you just never know. And once you set up that account, they're going to send you an email saying, hey, the account is set up and you're good to go to register in SAM. So you have to go to login.gov.first. And I'm going to stall a little bit just so if y'all want to do this, you can. It's a lot easier when you have somebody telling you what to expect because it kind of takes the intimidation factor off. Set up your account. You're going to either authenticate through a text message or you can download the Google Authenticator. I like the text message just because it's something that I already have on my phone. I don't have to go download another app. But somebody, some of you guys that are already into crypto, you might already have the authenticator. So it just depends on, what your preference is. And then they're going to ask you your security questions. There's 3 of them, but there's about maybe 10 or 12 or so that you can pick from. Just be mindful to write down the answer or screenshot the answer to those questions because let's just say, one of the answers to your question was Orlando. You want to make sure that all your caps and lower cases and all that kind of stuff is, is correct because let's just say you have access and then you lose access six months from now. And you're like, damn, I know my first kiss was in Orlando, but you can't get in because you capitalized the O in Orlando. So you don't want to get kicked out or, not remember anything like that. So just kind of, I always like to screenshot. All right. So that's the first part. Okay. The second part is going to be when you actually go to sam.gov. I'm going to take you guys as far as I can. So the first part is just actually getting you the login.gov, which is going to give you access to actually the SAM's website. Again, if you guys are working on a Mac, you're going to want to do this through Google Chrome. It took me one whole day to realize, oh, this Safari is not compatible. Oh, okay. So that's 12 hours you guys don't have to spend. All right, we're heading over to Sam's now. Now, with that same login, you're going to come here and actually log in. And I want you guys to, if you can, to go ahead and practice it because that authenticator is going to come into play now. So you should put in your email address and your password. And then it's going to say, okay, we're about to authenticate and ask you either for the Google Authenticator that we just did or for the code that's going to text to your phone. You're going to actually put that code in and then you'll be granted access into SAM's. All right, they're going to ask you about some terms and some conditions. You're going to accept. and it's going to bring you here. All right. For anyone new setting this up, you're going to go over to entities registration because we are now walking through SAMs and we need to register your company in order to do business. All right, it's going to give you some drop downs here. And pretty much everybody, unless you're already in SAMs, you're going to go to register new entity. All right. So you're going to have different headings to the side. It'll say purpose of registration, core data, representations and certifications, points of contact, submit registration. Now, the good thing about this is most of you guys, if you're new, majority of the answers here are going to be no because you've never done this before. So that's actually a good thing. You don't have a whole bunch to, you know, discuss because you've never been here before. You're gonna scroll to the bottom and it's gonna say start registration. So you're gonna start your registration. I don't know if you guys want to do this now because it's only so far I'll be able to go in here, but just know before you start, you will need your DUNS numbers, right? You'll need your tax ID number, your EIN number. You're gonna need your business bank account. You can come in here and change it if you like, but I'm a person, I like to have all my stuff done beforehand. So if you already have this stuff, then you can do it now. If not, you'll have to wait until you get it, but at least you've had, you know, some type of education on it anyways. And they're just letting you know, hey, before you start, this is what you're gonna need. The main thing about SAMs, you guys, is I strongly, strongly, strongly recommend to take your paperwork from irs.gov, your EIN paperwork, and take your DUNS paperwork and make sure that everything matches on those two forms. So if you live on Jones Avenue, when you fill out your EIN paperwork, make sure that you put Jones Avenue and not Ave. You don't want to abbreviate it. Whatever you do on one, you need to do to the other, because when you fill in your information for your EIN and then you go fill in your information for your DUNS, once you come in here and start putting your information in, SAMS is going to go and cross-reference both of those websites. So I see it happen every day. If you put Avenue in one and you put Av on another, it's going to come back because they do not match. It's that serious in here. If you have a period on Av in one and you don't have a period on Av in the other, it's going to kick back. The last thing you guys want is to already be kind of walking through something that you don't have a lot of, you know, experience in, and then something kicks back and now you are frustrated and you just quit. So it's too much opportunity to just quit for a period. So just make sure, I'm gonna say that like 3 more times. Whatever address or information that you input for EIN, make sure it's the very same for DUNS, and then you bring it over here. If you live on 187 Daffodil Street and you put STREET, make sure for your DUNS you do the same and make sure you carry it over here as well. All right. Okay, now it's going to bring you down here and it's going to say, what type of entity are you registering? Well, you guys are going to be a business or organization. So you're going to click that. It's going to say, why are you registering this entity to do business with the government? You're going to put, because I want to be able to bid on federal contracts or other procurement opportunities, right? That's what we want. So you're going to click those two. And you're going to continue. All right, it's going to ask you now the purpose of the registration, and it's going to tell you you are required to complete the following sections, which is everything here listed. Again, a lot of the answers to these questions you guys probably have never been asked before, but a vast majority is going to be no. I'm trying to take you guys as far as I can without exposing any information. Okay, good. All right, now you're going to start coming in here. You're going to start filling out information. Okay. So your DUNS number is going to go here, your entity name, not your name, your business's legal name. So take out that EIN paperwork and make sure if it's periods, you know, put the periods. If it's not, leave them out. Just want to, I cannot stress this enough, and I'm going to say this like a lot more because I do these every day for people. And people will go and try to do it themselves. And I'll say, hey, make sure you put that period. And then, you know, they barely know what they're doing, and they'll come back to me and say, hey, it didn't go through. My EIN didn't match. Well, that's because they didn't leave out a period. It's something so small, but it can really hold you back. So you're really going to go through here. And again, it's only so far I can go, guys, without putting my own information in here. And you're just going to click down through all of these different, let me see if it'll let me, headings. Okay. Through core data, they're going to ask your entity information. I can't click through them unless I go through them. They're going to ask you to verify your entity information. They're going to also ask you who's the responsible party for taxes. It's not going to be you personally. It's going to be your company. Remember, you're signing up your company to do business with the government, not necessarily you personally. So just be mindful to watch out for that in that segment. It's going to ask you to go through your business information. A lot of this stuff you guys have. They're going to ask you pretty much, are you owned or controlled by any other companies? Most of you guys' answer is going to be no. They're going to ask you about any foreign business, different things of that nature. Most of that's going to be no. When they get to the portion about the cage code, if you're not registered in SAMS, you probably don't have a cage code, so just say no. You will be giving your cage code through walking through this process. I'll go over that in a minute. They're going to ask you different questions like, has anybody in your company been accused of, a civil dispute? Have you embezzled any money? You owe any taxes? They're going to ask you a series of questions. Again, if you're just starting out, your business probably doesn't owe any taxes. So a lot of those questions are going to be no. Now, SAMS is going to take you guys probably a good little while because it is very lengthy. But again, don't get intimidated. A lot of the answers are going to be no, especially if you guys are just starting out. All right. It's going to come down to a section where they're going to ask you, what codes do you want to put in? All right. Now, the codes they are referring to are called NAICS codes. NAICS codes are pretty much, 6-digit codes that identify what goods and services you guys are going to offer to the government. And they're just North American classification codes. All right, so my primary codes, when I came in doing business with the government, I was already doing transportation, okay? So my primary codes were in transportation because that's what I was doing then. Now, just to give you guys a little bit of, knowing what you're dealing with when you're dealing with the government is the largest customer in the world. That's I'm not making that up. Like, that's a fact. They buy pretty much any and everything, from paper and pen, pencils, food, all the way to rocket sciences. I mean, a lot of the stuff that they buy, a pretty large portion, actually, majority of it has to come from us as small business so that we can keep commerce and economy, spinning. So a lot of times, whatever you are most familiar with is probably what you're going to start doing, right? However, contracting really is a large part about project management. So like when I first started, I did transportation. All right, I did that for 13 years. When I first came in, my first 2 contracts were actually for snow removal. So whatever you have the code for is something that you can do. Now, you kind of want to grow with it. You don't want to jump out the window and, your company's been in business for 5 years doing landscaping. And then you come over here and think you're about to build, a $40 million IRS building. That's not what you want to do. You want to go with what you are familiar with. So I put in transportation, and it's going to start telling you all the codes along here that you are, possibly could do to have transportation in it. As you see, transportation is a vast, they got everything from 483, 485, 481. Ideally, you want to have a lot of these codes. At the same time, you probably don't do deep sea freight transportation right now. That's the area you can grow in. So let's just say you're a barber. All right, so you can come in here and put in your keyword barber, and let's see what we get. All right, so they're going to give you any and all things corresponding to that. I will highly recommend that if it's something you feel like you can manage and you have some type of experience in, then you go over here and grab the code for it, okay? So you see beauty salons, pretty much anything over here that's listed as a code, that's something that they're buying. The average person wouldn't think you can, offer beauty supply or, barbering, men's and boys cut and sew apparel, manufacturing, but this is all something somebody's going to get paid for, so it might as well be you. All right, now, The government sometimes does not always put things in the exact code. All right. So you kind of want to have, let's just say in the 484 codes, I'll show you guys again. Hold on. I like to generally, if I'm going to have one thing in the code, like so transportation, my primary code is 484, right? I tend to want to have everything in 484 because if they come and drop something in 484.112, but I have 484.111, then I have to come back in SAMS and add it in, and I don't want to do that. So you guys can get familiar over the course of the next, few hours or days or whatever, and just go in here and kind of look around, play around with it. You can put in keywords of things that you might be interested in doing. And then you're going to take these same codes over here and go back to SAMS, because in SAMS, you're going to have to input your codes. It's kind of a rule of thumb with us that you want to have about 25 to 30 codes kind of starting out. Staffing is very big in government contracting. And as you guys grow and go, you're going to learn that this is just really all about project management. So as you get more experience up your sleeve, you'll feel more comfortable doing things that you may or may not necessarily. I didn't have any experience with snow removal. I had experience running my company, and I had experience with drivers and equipment. So that kind of helped me out. So you just want to grow. This is all about growth and expansion. Again, you might do one thing in transportation, but you might get a chance to do a different facet in that same lane. You don't want to ever kind of, limit yourself. Again, once you got 4 or 5 contracts going, you'll be a little bit more comfortable stepping out into something else, because at that point you kind of know and you got a knack for how to manage these projects. All right, so that's the NAICS code portion of SAMS. All right. Again, a lot of your answers are going to be, majority of your answers are probably going to be no. But the main thing I want to impress upon you guys is to just make sure that initially the EIN and that DUNS match. Now, this is going to take you a little while. Just take your time, go through it, and just remember, kind of like the things that we talked about. At the end, when you go to finally walk through and submit your actual registration, it'll say, hey, you submitted on this time, on this day. They'll send you an email saying, hey, we're processing your application. We're working on it. We'll come back, yada, yada, yada. You're going to get a series of emails after you submit your SAMS registration. The first email is going to say, hey, we checked your EIN, your TIN number against your DUNS number, and it either did or did not match. If it didn't match, I guarantee you it's because you got a period on one and not the other. You got street on one and not the other. It's going to be something to that effect. So make sure going in that you don't even have that issue. So the first email you'll get is saying, hey, your TIN matched and we're going to keep going forward. That's a good sign. The second email you're going to get is about your cage code, because you will be assigned a cage code through this process. And the last email you'll get is saying, hey, you've been approved in SAMS. Typically, it takes about 10 days to actually walk through SAMS. I've seen them take a little bit longer due to COVID-19, but I'm still seeing them come back very quickly. I'm not the, rule book on SAMS, but the SAMS registration that we help people out, I'm just letting you guys know the turnaround time that I've seen. I would say it shouldn't really take you guys any longer than 2 to 3 weeks to get all of this stuff together from start to finish. That's if you have no business name, LLC, anything. If you set all this stuff up and you're serious about it and you get it going, you can get set up in 2 to 3 weeks. The next one. All right. We offer SAMS registration for you guys. Again, SAMS is free. If you want to do it on your own, we charge $6.99 to register you in SAMS. Some people don't want to, walk through it. Some people are like, look, you do it all. We don't have a problem with that. We'll help you guys out. And once you become registered in SAMS, congratulations, you guys are now federal contractors, and you can now begin to look at government bids and things of that nature. So when I was, coming up and I was walking through this process, I didn't know what the hell I was doing. I just know I wanted more opportunity and more money, and I knew it was the thing to do. I got registered in Sam's. 2 months later, my phone rang, and I had $260,000 worth of snow removal contracts for 5 months of the year. Okay, so it can happen, and it does happen. Again, this is what Sam looks like. If you guys, again, are working on a Apple product, just make sure that you access Sam's through Google Chrome, because you will be banging your head against the wall on one of these other software systems trying to figure out why you can't get it to work. All right. Going in chronological order, now that we have you guys' EIN out the way, your DUNS number, and your SAMS is registered, we are going to talk about contract opportunities. Okay. Once you guys get registered in SAMS, you'll have access to what's called Beta SAMS. And Beta SAMS is where a large majority of the contracts are listed. They come out every day. All right, so the first one we're going to get into is the Library of Congress has a notice out right now. This is an active notice. Screenshot this slide, because if you go into Beta SAMS and you actually pull up this notice ID number, it will come up for you. All right, so the Library of Congress right now is looking for personal protective equipment IDIQ. IDIQ means indefinite quantity. It just means they don't really know how much they're going to need. And so they're just going to need that much that they don't know how much they're going to need. So this is something good for you guys for the personal protective equipment. Once you get all registered in SAMS, you can use this notice to come in Beta SAMS and to actually look at this notice. We have quite a few, so I'm just going to move through these rather quickly, because at least you know where to find the actual notice and what they're looking for. You guys can do a little bit more digging to see, quantities and all that kind of stuff and all the particulars. So this is the Library of Congress. They are a government agency, and a regular business to business person, we're not even thinking on this level. So that's why I want you guys to, really take the fullness of this information, because this is something you can do right from the confines of your own home. When we have Mike and his partner come on later to discuss all the supplies they have, this is like a networking parent session right here and right now. All right, this is another opportunity for hospital and surgical clothing and related special purpose items, okay? That could be anything: medical, dental, hospital equipment, supplies, merchant wholesalers, okay? If you look up here at the top, it says NAICS code 423450. So you guys know right out of the gate, that's a code that you want to take and put in SAMS. All right. Now, in the description below, they have some information down here. And they're saying the contractor should provide 46,000 disposable surgical masks and hand sanitizer for active construction and lease personnel throughout the Office of Construction and Facilities Management project locations. The estimated dollar amount of this requirement is $70,000. Okay. So basically they're saying, hey, this caps out at 70 grand for now. Okay. These notices come out every day. I just showed you guys another one. All right. That's Library of Congress. Who is this? This is Department of Veterans Affairs. So these are two different agencies. Now these are just one notice from two different agencies. Again, this stuff comes out every day. A lot of people don't even know how to find this stuff. A lot of people aren't even thinking on this level. This is very big business. There is no business bigger than this. All right, we're going to move along. Okay, this is for personal protective equipment, again, for COVID-19 in Mongolia. Again, this is for the Department of Defense. You guys are doing business on a global level now. So right from your own homes, you can find a supplier, which we have suppliers on the line right now, and, go through this, figure out what all the parameters are, and have this stuff shipped to Mongolia. Okay, it's just that simple. We're gonna move right along. So once you guys get registered in SAMS, you'll be able to go to betasam.gov. You can see the emblem right up here in the left-hand corner. And you're gonna have to register in Beta SAMS also, but a lot of the information from SAM goes over to Beta SAM, so you won't have to do as much. But Beta SAM is actually where you can see all of these notices. These notices come out by the hundreds of thousands every single day. So I don't care if you got 3 trucks on the road, or if you got, a landscaping company, you got different accounts. You also want to grow this as well. These supplies are a good way for people who are just starting to get in and get busy, because a lot of the red tape that I had to go through is out of the window now because they need all these supplies. All right, this is again Department of Veterans Affairs, and they have another notice. This is a separate notice for PPE gowns. Okay. Same situation. You would have to, get registered, come in here, look a little deeper, dig around in the actual notice. And this stuff is not very hard, you guys. I mean, I've seen some contracts that are like 1,000, 300, 200 pages. This stuff is just for simple, easy little supplies. So a lot of the notices won't be very lengthy. A lot of times, some of this stuff can get very technical, but thank God it's not. So this is a really good starting point. And there's all kinds of, things that come out every day. This is just on the federal side. You guys can also check with your local and your state government as well. They have vendor lists as well that you guys can sign up to. Once you get the supplies and you become the plug, then it's a lot easier to find people who are looking for these items. All right. This is Department of Defense, a totally separate notice. And they are asking for information pertaining to medical supplies in response to COVID-19. So as you guys see, this stuff is everywhere. Request for information just means, hey, give us some information on your companies. They probably will ask you things like, what's your capacity? Meaning, where can you ship to? How much equipment can you get? Things of that nature. Request for information is basically like, hey, we have a notice we probably are going to come out with, but before we come out with it and before there's actually money on the table for this, we want to know, are you guys interested? How would you carry out the notice? Tell us more about your company. It's kind of like a precursor to what's coming. I love requests for information because a lot of these big companies, $50 million, $100 million, they have an appetite of 50 million, 100 million appetite they have to support. So a lot of these notices for requests for information, they're not necessarily checking for, they're looking for notices where there's actual money behind it. But on a request for information, you could fill it out and 2 months later or 30 days later or whenever it comes out, it's an actual notice because you already responded. They're already familiar with your company. So they may just call you and say, hey, remember that notice you filled out, request for information? Well, guess what? It's actual dollars behind it. And because you filled it out previously, we want you to come and do this work. So that's kind of like a little hack you guys can use. All right, this is something also, UV lights. Again, this is Department of Defense and PPE supplies. So as you guys see, I mean, this is just like some notices from just today. I like to pull fresh notices so the information is fresh. It's never been seen before. This is not a presentation I had that I just pulled some slides from last class. These are all fresh notices. And again, don't be intimidated, just like you're reading it here. Once you guys go a little bit deeper, a lot of this stuff for supplies is very black and white. Gowns, masks, gloves, things like that. It's not a bunch of bells and whistles to it. So it's a good way to get experience, earn a couple of dollars, and kind of, get into an agency that's asking for supplies. And I mean, they'll work with you. So, use the information and grow and expand as best you can. Now we are going to get into my favorite portion of the class where we're going to turn it over to Mike. And I'm going to talk to you guys. Well, he's going to talk to you guys about his actual supplies. Hold on. We're going to turn things over to Mike. First, we got to find him because there's quite a few people up here. You see him? Mike, can you hear us, Mike?
I hear you. Can you hear me?
I can't hear him. Hold on. Okay. Hey, Mike.
Hey, can you hear me?
Yes, I am. I am going to give you my share, Mike. Do you have anything you want to show them or? No?
No, just
Cool.
speaking.
All right. So I'm going to turn this over to Mike. I just want to tell you guys a little bit about Mike. I met Mike last year in LA. Mike is a connoisseur of all things global. He deals with apparel, supplies, manufacturing. He has a lot of connections over in China. He also has a partner, Keith. They work together. Keith is online as well. And for as long as I've known Mike, he's been trying to get me to go to China. Come to China. He's been telling me the whole time, right? So it looks like the joke's on me because he's right the whole time. If you guys caught him on my live the other week, he did a very good, like a general kind of overview of what he has to offer. But I really want you guys to get the fullness of who he is and all his experience dealing over in Hong Kong and different cities over there. So I'm going to shut up and I'm going to let Mike take it away.
Well, hello. Good afternoon, good people. Casey, thank you for having me on. And I thank everyone else for being on during this COVID and chill season. So we're speaking about great opportunity to help people during this crisis that we're in. And of course, Casey is showing you guys how to get to the outlet, and I'm showing you guys how to get to the plug. So let's let's connect. A little bit about me. I come from a production and sourcing background. I grew up doing this kind of stuff, and as Casey says, I lived in China for multiple years. I speak Chinese, and I like to call myself the sourcing samurai. So, what are the stuff that's the key thing to source during this time? Of course, PPE. The whole world's trying to get it. Not that many people can get access to it. My litmus test is not in Costco. It's not in Walmart. It's not in Amazon. So it's a good thing to get into if you have the plug and if you have the outlet, which Casey, of course, is showing us all how to get those outlets, how to get this off. So the opportunity is huge. And another good thing is it's a seller's market. Before, people are trying to pay in terms. Now it's hurry up and buy. People are giving cashier's checks. I mean, they want to get their hands on it as quick as possible. And the key thing is, can you get it? And is it legitimate? And can you show that it is legitimate? So I wanted to answer a few questions people have been asking me, a couple simple questions, and I want to open it up. Okay, so PPE, of course, is personal protective equipment. And everyone, people see the articles. One of the main items in that are masks. Hey, type in the chat. Let's see that give it a 1 in the chat if you guys know the different types of masks that are hot commodities right now. Let's get some feedback, okay? Keisha says she knows. Okay, yes, I'm seeing them. Yes. Nurses, a lot of them can't get these masks. Hospitals are hoarding. Why are hospitals hoarding? Okay, yep. Okay, so we have a general consensus of what they are. N95s, K95s. Who knows the difference between an N95 and a K95? Who knows the difference? Yep. And simple surgery masks. Okay, so this is your respirator. You would see this before in like a Home Depot or in hospitals, and this is the thing that you put over the face, and it's going to keep it's going to protect against particles. All right, particles going in, particles going out. And so the government is buying these things like crazy. Everyone's trying to buy them, and no one can get them. And you guys are going to be able to get them because I'm going to show you guys. So for me, it's I have access. And I'm going to extend the access to you guys. But I want you guys to know not every KN95 is equal. There's a lot of, first you have the mask with the actual material. There are certain tests that when you guys, get in touch with me, I will show you certain tests to do to look for. Who knows the tests? Who knows the tests? Water, okay, water test, and the fire test. Beautiful. For the fire test, how should the mask burn? And a fit test, yeah. Fire test for K95. When you light the mask, and you guys, I'll put some stuff up my Instagram later to let you guys see. But when you light the mask, a good quality mask, that inside fiber is gonna drip. It's not gonna really smoke. It's not gonna really have any soot. It's gonna melt and drip out. That's a good test, all right? So when you see those articles of 10 million masks being rejected, it's because they didn't pass those tests. Also, water tests. You pour the water in there. It should hold in the mask, all right? If the seams are wrong, it might drip out. If the material's wrong, it's gonna drip out. This is a way to do the personal test yourself, all right? Also, paperwork. The masks should have there should be the legitimate paperwork. The FDA cert and the different testing and maybe the CE cert, they should all match. And because it's in Chinese, a lot of times people are getting confused. It's almost like not knowing the difference between Dallas Airport and Dulles Airport. And so if you send the paperwork in, hey, I have these masks, here's the paperwork on the masks, and it doesn't match up, it's a short check against you. That's one thing. Another thing you have to check out, be wary of. There's a lot of different ordinances that happen. Laws are changing all the time, and the packaging of the masks is a very key thing. This is what, if the packaging's wrong, paperwork's wrong, this is what has something ending up getting stuck in customs and doesn't leave China, or it comes here and it can't get through customs here. So the actual material, the straps cannot fall off the mask. I was talking to a gentleman and he had received samples, straps not even attached. So you got to be very, very wary of the supply that you're tapping into, that you're going to be providing to everyone else. Because if you don't provide the legitimate supply, it's a check against your credibility. Okay, so you have your actual mask, the physical product. You have the paperwork assigned with the product. Then you have the packaging on the product. If any of those things is not up to par, not up to code, it's going to get stuck. It's not going to leave. Now, in the case that it does get through, it's on the onus of your buyer to accept. Right now, lots of states are at a deficit, which means they have product coming in. They can have 10 million masks come in, but they go out quickly. When people say, oh, the PPE opportunity is already saturated. No, it's not. Most states, the smaller states, need in their stockpile at least 60 to 100 million masks, every single type of style stored away for stockpile. No one is at that right now. And for the nurses and doctors, I've spoken to a lot of different nurses and doctors. Yeah, I saw that, the FEMA Council, that big contract. The reason why hospitals are hoarding is because many of the hospital buyers, they don't know how to buy. The supply chain is all messed up. Before they were buying locally from their distributor, it's messed up and they don't know how to buy. They don't have a strong source. They don't know how to look at mask and actually determine between a good KN95 and a bad one. So because of that, they're not able to buy. So they're just holding, and they're giving you, doctors and nurses, one simple surgery mask to last for the whole shift, sometimes the whole week. It's not a good look. Doctors and nurses are supposed to be changing those surgery masks every single patient. So guys, there's a lot of opportunity here to supply. Okay, so we talked about product. Now there's also the speed and being able to buy the product. All right, right now it's a seller's market. So the suppliers, many of the suppliers, they don't want a bunch of back and forth. They don't want a bunch of looky. It's hurry up and buy. So, and think of it like this. The more times you contact your supplier to ask questions without something serious, like a letter from the state to you, or which is like an LOI, they're not going to really want to speak to you. They want to speak because people are outside of these factories waiting to buy, and they can't even get in line. All right, so the people who we work with, the buyers who we work with, we ask them, have your letter ready? Also, have your proof of funds ready, which means, let's say you want to buy 100,000 masks, not you, but you represent. There's a government, okay. So what was that thing you're saying? The notice. There's a notice to buy, right? People are asking for information. You don't really want to be giving so much information. You want to be providing, you want to be selling. So you give the information, hey, I'm able to procure this, but the best way is to, once they get back to you and get on the phone, the best way is to get them to commit by a way of a letter or something showing that they're trying to buy from you. And that's what you take to your supplier, i.e. myself, or someone like me, to show, okay, I can actually, my buyer actually can pay for this, and be based off of market price, all right? And then once that's there, then that's when the wheeling and dealing happens. That's when negotiation happens. But just asking around for price, someone might give you price. If you don't give them order, you probably, wave them goodbye. Like I said, it's a seller's market, but the good thing is Casey's saying government's the biggest client and everyone wants to sell to the government. So make sure you're ready. LOI, letter of intent, or something else, a memorandum of understanding, and try to get to the top. One of my mentors, who then my partner, told me, Mike, it trickles down from the top, not the other way around. So try to get to the top, all right? And the best practices is when they call, get them on the phone. Don't get into the, I'm gonna email you back and forth. It's moving too fast. Now, when I say moving too fast, which means you might be able to lock in with a good supplier, for instance, of K95s or N95s, and you say, okay, I want to buy. You might have the opportunity to buy, but if you say I want to buy and you don't, a false start, it's gonna go away, and you won't be able to buy. That's how when sellers fall out from underneath them, the seller either wasn't legitimate or the seller was very legit and there was already a line, and you came up in the line and you weren't ready to present something substantial, you get passed up. Okay. Something else you want to have, so that you don't get burned or there's no fraud, you want as much as possible to have a straight line of sight to your supplier, to your factory, to your source. This is so if someone knocks on your door, excuse me, you said you can provide this. Do you have a sample of it? Who are you, who are you buying it through? Who is it? You want to be able to have, show a straight line of sight, and you will get that if you have, first you have to go to find legitimate suppliers, and then if you've had your LOI or your proof of funds, that will kind of get you in the door, and it will make people take you serious, and you'll be able to know with who you're dealing with. Okay, for the masks, who is aware? Yeah, or award letter, indeed. Okay, for the masks, who is aware of the different ordinances that are happening, the different rules, playing with 3M versus other makers of masks? Is anyone aware? Not me. Well, no problem. You don't got to be aware. You'll learn fast. Well, to give you a bit of advice, unless you're dealing with DOD or FEMA directly, you might want to stay away from 3Ms. And the reason why is because the spotlight is on you. If you get awarded, you know, if you get awarded, you know, the ability to work with the mask, and it's from DOD or FEMA, okay, that you might be a little bit more, a little bit safer dealing with 3M. Otherwise, 3M, it's really tough because there's no actual stashes of 3M right now. Whoever is holding a stash um, can get dinged, which means can go to prison. If you import 3M from out the country, it could be an issue. If you export it out the country, it could be an issue. Oh, 3M is a brand. They make the 1860s and the 8210s and other types of N95 Neosh masks. Okay, so 3M. Let's talk about some other pieces. We have the N95 Neosh. Neosh is Niosh, Neosh. And the Neosh is it's a certification for these masks. And we have a database actually. There's I think 40 different companies that actually make Neoshes. Now Neoshes are they're a bit hard to procure, but they can be procured. We've procured them. The Chinese government has taken over a bunch of the different Neosh factories and a bunch of the K95 factories. The Chinese government has taken over to manage quality. So because of that, it's driving the prices up. So you want to make sure that your buyer, when you start communication with your buyer, put the onus on them to understand the market. Your goal is to sell, not to do their homework for them or to teach them. All right? Your job is to sell and provide them with legitimate PPE, not do their homework, not sell for them. So you should put the onus on them to understand the different variations in this volatile market. But volatile markets are good; they're exciting. What it means is that not everyone can get access. You can get access. All right. So you have your Neoshes, you have your non-Neosh N95, and that's basically what a K95 is. It's a non-Neosh N95. All right. Your K95s, as I told you before, there's different variations, and what you want to look for on the FDA cert, you want to look at the product code. All right, the product code. We have a link later that we can share with you to look at the different breakdowns of product codes. It's a short link in the CDC website that's on, it's an FDA short link on the CDC website. And you can look on the CDC website also for different Neosh brands, all right? This short link shows you the different product codes which your masks are gonna fall into. And when you have a FDA doc, you look at that product code and you will see, for instance, we have our N95s, our K95s have the product code MSH, which is a very good product class. Some homework, MSH. And by checking the product code, you will see what that mask is certified to do. And this basically means that the factory, in their paperwork, we're going to look at their codes right. Now let's skip on to your other mask. You have your simple surgery mask, and then you have your simple disposable mask. Every mask is needed, right? In Las Vegas, they're trying to open up. The casinos are trying to give out simple disposable masks to all of the patrons. I know of a couple casinos that went through 1.6 million masks and they're not even open yet. Look at the opportunity. Okay, so Every mask is needed, but it must be legitimate. You must say what the mask is. You must be able to show the paperwork for that. Okay. I want to give you guys a little bit of game. The best clients. Now, Casey and I were talking about this beforehand. So I want to give you games to let you see. Some people think they need to start small. You don't. If you start bigger, it's even better. That FEMA deal, if whoever set the deal up, if they would have put the onus on FEMA to send the planes into China and pick up the goods, that would have been a lot better. What happened was they were trying to deliver the goods and there was a delay. There are clients out there, I speak to them, who ask, can we go and pick up the goods? Can we be able to send, can you get airspace cleared out so we can send a plane over and pick up the goods and come back? That's the best one. Why? Because you don't got to worry about clearing customs. You don't got to worry about the logistics. They worry about the logistics. And there are those clients out there. Those states need that work. They need those goods. They can send planes over and pick things up. All right. So what are the questions that I ask people to ask their buyers before they come to me? What do they need? Put that in the LOI. Send. Logistics. What do you need? Do you want that? You want to have it ready for you in China, or do you FOB China, or do you want landed in Long Beach or whatever other port you want to take it to? What's the item you want? Where you want it delivered? And price, we don't have to talk about the price. Put that in the LOI, send. Make them write you the message stating what they want. And with that, this is some games. These government PO can be financed at a bank. All right. Let's say if the government is apprehensive on sending planes over to pick the goods up, that PO can be financed at a bank and goods can come. All right. So a lot of information. I wanted to kind of just give you some of the stuff that can help you work. You don't need to, you don't need to know everything, but make sure that you don't get caught up giving or offering something that's not legit. So I want to answer, open up for questions. Oh, and we do have a form. Keith's gonna put that form in the chat. This is a form for people who have questions, who have, I know many of Casey's people have actually gotten in contact with us, and these people are ripping and ready to get it happen, cracking. They have people who are actually already contacting them, banging on their door to provide a product, PPE. Keith, please put that link in the chat for people. Okay, there's a simple link that we made, guys. I'm not sure. Okay. Okay, some questions. This is from Nikita, I believe. How is money handled when dealing with the government? Wire transfer, pay on delivery, half at the beginning, the rest when delivered?
It's gonna depend. That's a good question. So all of these different opportunities that I showed you guys are different agencies. Different agencies do things different ways. They ask for, one might say, hey, come set up an account in this system. Another one will say, set up an account in this system. It's no different than you dealing with, different customers, in your business. It's just gonna depend. They might give you a purchase order. They might give you an award letter. They might just drop, a lot of times when they pay me, they just drop the money in my account. They never really say, "Are you getting paid on this day?" They just drop it all in your account. So it's just going to depend on the notices that I showed you guys. Once you get registered in SAMS and you're able to go look at beta SAMS, you can go into those notices. That's why I gave you the notice numbers, to go in there and look and specifically see, because everybody's different and everybody has different, parameters on how that's going to be handled. Before you keep going, Mike, I want to tell you guys something that you guys probably don't know. When dealing with the government is very specific about how they want things, who, what, when, where, how, and how much. So the information that he's giving you, and why I even have him before you guys, is because I've seen the paperwork on what he offers. I've seen the white papers, the CDC list. I've seen the tests. I've seen the certificates from the actual factories. And that's good stuff that you want to put in these notices, because that's what's going to make the difference between you guys and somebody else going for the same opportunities. A lot of people are just so quick to just grab at whatever. But just like that order y'all were talking about with FEMA that got canceled, if you don't give them specifically what they asked for, and that's why it's good to have a knowledgeable supplier like Mike. He's obviously very knowledgeable about what to do, what not to do. You don't want to keep dealing with a whole bunch of different little, retailers that are buying from this person and that person. You want to find somebody like Mike, who's very well versed in what's going on right now. As he was telling you guys, the rules are changing every day. So he has to have his thumb in China and over here to figure out what their government is mandating and what our government is mandating. So to be honest with you guys, I deal with a lot of people that do business, but you really can't get any bigger and better than Mike. I'm not saying that because, you can salsa. I'm saying that because it's really the truth. Your supplier needs to be more knowledgeable about this stuff than you do, because you're dependent on that supplier to meet the demands for your government. So you can show, you might want to show him the actual order, the stipulations and the specifications that they're looking for, and let him see it also, so he can make sure and put his eyes on it. Because what you don't want to do is you don't want to order 12 dozen of these boxes or whatever, a pallet, and then you get it there and it's not the right thing. So I just want to kind of, be mindful, especially if you are not that mindful on a specific, supplier, whatever. Your supplier needs to be very knowledgeable about what you're getting. I just wanted to add that, Mike. Go ahead.
Okay. Also, the good thing, normally, well, I'm not sure how it is, but during this time, you can actually get a lot of those government buyers on the phone now. Before, people weren't really on the phone. Now they get on the phone. Why? Because it's their tail that's on the line also if something messes up. So you can get them on the phone. There will be, and also a lot of them understand that pricing is fluctuating like this. You have to get in front of the pricing to lock in a rate. So I would always, a bit of advice, get them on the phone. Don't just do it through email or through text. No, get them on the phone, get them to commit, get them to, it doesn't have to even be a big order. It could be like, if it's 10 million N95 Neoshes, it's kind of hefty. And unless they have the ability to fly in a plane over there and pick it up, it's going to be an issue. Why? Because everyone's fighting for this. All the governments right now, every state government is fighting against each other and against the Fed to get this. That's why you hear about the people flying goods in, picking them up with different trucks, disguised trucks like food trucks, and sending them different routes. So if they get stopped, the goods can't get yanked. It's kind of wild, wild west right now, which is exciting. But if someone is saying that they want 10, if they want 10 million masks, they better show the ability to get into the logistics also. All right, they shouldn't put that on you. They need to be able to fly. If they want that, they should have the ability to fly a plane over there and get in. If that's the case, give me a holler. I will work out with my Chinese government tax. We can make that happen.
I just want to interject for a moment to kind of bring them back all in. So what he's talking about, you guys, is basically, when we're talking about foreign domestic travel and tariffs and all that kind of stuff, he's talking about large orders. He's going a step further. Like, we have to make provision to get this stuff from one place to the next, and they need it quick, fast, in a hurry. I'm just trying to go over some of the questions I saw. I think, let me get back in here. She said, are they supposed to negotiate price? That's absolutely what you're doing. This is no different than buy low, sell high. Mike is your supplier, so you would get it straight from him, and his connects to China. And then you go to the government and you negotiate how much you are going to sell it to them for, based upon what they're asking you in those different notices I showed you. Now, some things I want you guys to take into consideration, because you really can't get any better than what we're doing right here. You have over 100 Black and brown minorities, women-owned companies, you know, all this group of people open up now to this large, you know, opportunity that's going to be ongoing, whether it's masks, gowns, surgical masks. He talked about all the different things he has access to. But you're just basically going to the government saying, hey, I found a supplier who's knowledgeable, who has the credentials, who has the specifications, and you have to negotiate based on how much it's going to charge you, you know, to get it there, expediting it. You have to even pay yourself for doing this work. I put this together, but really, if I didn't do this, you guys will have to go find suppliers, sit through all these presentations, make sure that, you know, your supplier's on the level. So you got to pay yourself for this. So it's just going to depend on what agency you decide to go with. Also, too, don't stop here. You can still develop your relationship with Mike. Go to your local and your state municipalities and, you know, go to them and say, hey, I have a supplier. You can go to your state vendor list. Also, everybody's state has a vendor list. If you just Google, you know, Montana procurement for small business, something's going to pop up locally where you live. Get on all those lists you guys can get on, because that is how you start contracting on a larger scale. We don't have time to be doing one, you know, oh, here, one mask, $10. No, get an order for, you know, 1 million masks and make your money in one sting. And then you can start doing business with the local and state government. You can do business with the federal government. You can do business with DOD, Department of Defense. That's how you start generating a lot of money, partnering with people and in different places. And you don't have to go out and dig the actual ditch. So I just kind of wanted to kind of bring that all and make it make sense. I know it's a lot of information, but business is buy low, sell high. Provide a service, you know, add your tax on it and profit. That's never going to really change. So even though I know it's a lot of information being passed, we're just bringing you guys opportunities and a supplier. Very knowledgeable. Like, I would not bring anybody in front of you guys who wasn't knowledgeable, because you're basically depending on Mike's expertise to make sure that, you know, this is what they are asking for. Now, you as the contractor, that's your responsibility also. You have to go through that notice, break it down, make sure, take him the specs if necessary, and, you know, line it up and make sure that what you're buying is actually, you know, what they are wanting, because you don't want to get a large order and then it gets canceled. So these are the main things that you have the opportunity. Again, once you guys are registered in Beta Sam's, you can go on Sam's every day and something about PPE is popping up. Go to your local municipalities. They have websites as well. Notices come out every day for this stuff. There's a lot of money you guys can make just right here from the confines of your own home.
Yes. And the crazy thing is that when you see those smaller orders, that's just someone putting some information in there. It's almost like a test order. If you see something small, it's a test order, because people need this stuff. No one can even get it. It's tough to get. And so when you see that test order, you want to get that person on the line. And don't tell your supplier, oh, I have an order for $75,000 worth of goods, and get them ready, because China moves so fast. And that person who put that listing out might not be moving as fast. So don't get your supplier revved up and you're not ready to buy.
That's a good point.
Yeah, I've seen a lot of deals fall apart. There was one deal that fell apart because there's a company. I'll give you as a company. It's a hard one to get into. It's called 3Q, or in China, Sanchi. It's in Qingdao province. This factory is a hard one to get an audience with. I'll give you guys the scenario. The factory CEO is in hiding right now. Why is he in hiding? Not because he did anything wrong, but because everyone's going to call in favors for him right now. The factory has shut down their sales department. They only have authorized reps who are managing the cells. And you can't get in there. Not maybe 4 months ago you could, but because Chinese government took over the they got into managing production, managing quality. It's made everything bottleneck, and that bottleneck has driven up price. And it's also, the customs has gotten jammed with illegitimate product, or product with the paperwork not right, which is jammed up airports, which is jammed up. It's just a big jam, which is great if you have the ability to get in and get out. The bottleneck, people say, oh, it's a bottleneck. Bottleneck means that those who actually can shine, will be exposed. That's a good thing. But we had, it was a big hospital group in the South that needed to buy some masks. But the issue was the broker had made in their contract, they had written in their contract with the hospital buyer, okay, we're gonna do a test order for 5,000 masks. Once that test order is completed and delivered and signed off on, that will trigger the rest of the initial order, which was the rest of the 495,000 masks. And when that's delivered, it will trigger 10 million masks. But you know what's funny? The money was in the account, but Sanchi, I was the one who actually had brought Sanchi to the table. Sanchi, when they knew there was that 5,000 mask test order, like, screw this, we don't want this. And they walked. In this hospital, even though they had all the money in escrow, couldn't get the masks. Why? Because why do they want to deliver a 5,000 mask order when they have people in line who are trying to get 1 million? For them, they don't care about what's going to happen later. They want to see now money now. So make sure before you write what you can deliver to your buyer, to the government, you want to know already, you want to have the supplier. I'm going to break it down. Have the supplier award you. You get on the phone with them if you can, and they should know it's volatile. I need you to give me a letter stating what we want. Let's leave, price can be in it or it can be market price. Prices switch up. The price of last week is different than the price of this week, which will be different than the price of 2 weeks later. Have them write what they want. You send that to your supplier. This is the LOI, letter of intent, or government award letter, or MOU, memorandum of understanding, something that officially shows this is what the government wants me to provide. Okay? You guys can redact sensitive information off of it, but they must show a number. You find out from the supplier, can we provide that number? The supplier will write you back either a performance invoice or something else, okay? Make sure you have proof of funds ready, okay? After that, the payment terms and everything will be discussed. But the very first thing, you must have the government in writing give you what they want you to provide. And if you want to cross off certain things, it's fine, but they must give you in writing what you provide. And don't do any negotiation with them until you are able to know what the seller can provide, okay? If people want third-party verification of either the factory or the warehouse, you can use SGS, all right? You guys can Google SGS, third-party company that will give you some verification on what is actually in the factory or what's in stock, all right? And you also will have the paperwork, okay? Yeah, and we will. You don't have to know everything. We can help you, or another legitimate supplier will help you along the way. especially if you have that proof of funds or that award letter or that LOI. I got to say that many times because people come asking price and they don't have that, you know. And we'll be on the phone all day talking price, this, price, that. You know.
You don't even have your stuff together. It's almost like getting pre-approved for a house. A realtor's not going to go show you a $200,000, $300,000 house, and you don't even have a pre-approval letter. I'm going to interject for one moment because there's one last piece that we need to cover before you guys start going after this. I know Mike gave a lot of information. It's excellent information. Sometimes I just don't even know, Mike, if you know how good you are, okay? I'm going to go back to the presentation for a second so we can kind of finish that out, and then we will answer some questions. I know you guys have a lot of questions. I try to keep these classes down to a 2-hour maximum. It looks like we're going to go a little bit over that, but I'm going to go back to my presentation and tell you guys what else is needed. So we walked through how to get set up. We've walked through the opportunities. Mike has shared a bit on what he has to offer. Now let's talk about responding to these notices. This class is not really based in, you know, how to respond, but I don't want to give you guys opportunities and then it would be remiss of me if I didn't give you some kind of way to go further. So for anybody who is interested in, you know, going this avenue or any kind of big business, large companies, you're talking about doing global business in the, you know, millions of dollars. Companies want to see that you have a statement of capabilities, which is your capability statement, and they also want to see that you have a website. The same way the government is looking for capable vendors, and the same way, you know, Mike is looking for people to do business with, just like he was saying, have that paperwork ready. Everybody wants to know that they are doing business with somebody that's legitimate. So in order to show, you know, any large multi-conglomerate business that you are about business, you're going to need to have a capability statement. That's just period. You're not going to be able to respond to any of these government notices without it. And what they will do is they will go and check your capability statement, which we do draft them for you. And they will then go check to make sure you have some type of internet presence. It's 2020. There's no way you guys are going to possibly go and provide 1 million masks for NASA or whatever government agency, and you don't even have a website. So same thing with the capability statement. You have to have that a lot of times for these government opportunities. You have to turn that in, period. There's no way around that. So what we do here at the Compass Circle is a lot of times, you know, small businesses don't all the time do business on this level. And as you guys saw earlier with the NAICS codes, there's going to be a lot of additional NAICS codes that you guys don't know about yet that are going to have all kind of opportunities, you know, laced in them. So what we're going to do is, you know, if you guys want to proceed and you want to do these notices, you're going to have to get a capability statement and a website. We sell them in a bundle packet for $7.99. And we will draft your capability statement and we will draft you a matching website. Now, let me just go over a little bit about what they encompass. It's going to have your company's identity. And for anybody that's new, don't feel any type of way that you're new. Or if you're already seasoned, pretty much when you come to us, we're just going to give you like a makeover for the government. There's certain things the government likes to see and certain things they don't want to see. I had a guy, he does all kind of shows for Essence and all kind of movies and all this kind of stuff, but they're not always interested in everything that you have to offer. So we have to kind of like polish you guys according to what I know of the government and how they like to, you know, the plate they like to eat off. We're not going to serve them food on a styrofoam plate if I know they like fine china. So right now you guys may be clear on what services you offer, regular business to business, but I'm going to share with you and, you know, looking up the NAICS codes, you're going to see some other things that you can offer as well. Again, you want to refer to www.naics.com. Just, you know, spend a little time in there putting in some keywords. If it's a code you feel like, you know, you have some familiarity with and it's something that you can pull off, by all means, go ahead and add that code. Once you guys go to our website and make the purchase for the capability statement, application will download to you and it will ask what particular codes do you want us to add for you. I want to make sure that you guys are very clear about this because sometimes people don't always listen and then they want to come back on me. Okay, there are general codes for just general things, right? And you guys don't know that going in. So I will make sure that I'm going to give you, and I'm going to kind of buffer you with general codes because I would rather you have 40 codes versus 5 codes. The more codes you have, the more money you make. However, you don't want to go crazy and have 1,000 codes because you're going to look like you don't know what you're doing. So that's kind of why we use our discretion to give you guys codes based on the industries that you tell me you're most, familiar with or have the most interest in. Again, we may give you some additional codes, but that's because I know the government doesn't always put things particularly in that code. Case in point, there might be a transportation code. Transportation is, 484. All right, there might be a job in the 5541 code. So I may give you some codes. If I give you additional codes, don't come back screaming on me because I gave you additional codes. I'm really trying to look out for you. So that happens sometimes because people don't listen and people don't pay attention. But you don't want to come in with 5 codes. You want to come in about 25 or 30 to start off. And you don't want to come in with 99 codes either, because your codes need to have some cohesiveness to them. It doesn't mean you can't do different things, but it just has to make sense on paper. And that's what we do here. And we do a really great job of doing that. So again, the suite is $7.99 for them both. We ask for about a 7-day turnaround time just to get them back to you guys. We'll give them to you as a draft. And if you want to make any changes, you can do that. We'll, go ahead and make the changes for you. Our websites and capabilities our statements are like phenomenal. I really pride myself on doing a great job on those. Case in point, I had 5 trucks, 5 trailers. I had 2 trucks that were out, 2 drivers that were, my company was leaning on one leg. But my capability statement was so bomb. I literally walked into the Port of Virginia, gave them my paperwork, and 4 months later, I was in Belgium, at a conference, on a $200 million project. So even if you use it in the government eyes, or you have to have that capability statement, there's no way around it. You're not doing any big business without a capability statement. The days of the business card in the elevator, that's over. People want to see how much can you handle, what can we give you, what have you done previous. If you guys have any other contracts that you have held in the past, whether it's privately or whether it's on the local level, or if you have accounts that you've been doing for a long time, a lot of you guys have past performance, but we just don't look at ourselves in a certain light. So I will help you guys build out that past performance. A case in point, I had a girl in Texas, and she does all of the, well, not all of them, but she does about 6 Hardys, or either, I don't know if y'all call them Carl's Jr., whichever one. And so I'm like, okay, well, how much do you charge to go out and, do these buildings? So let's just say she said $200. Okay, well, I'm not going to put on her past performance that she's going out doing a chain of franchises for $200 a pop. So I'm going to build it up to basically show them how much you've done over the course of the time that she's been doing them. So now you take a $200 play that you're going out there per time. I'm going to go and I'm going to say, well, hey, you've been doing it for 3 years. Let's add up the whole total. And now she's got $100,000 worth of past performance. So that looks and sounds a lot better. It's still the truth, but we just gave it to them on a plate that they like to eat it. So a lot of times your past performance can carry you, but right now it's open season, especially with all these supplies. And we have a really great supplier right here. Any special licenses? I know a lot of you drivers have tanker, hazmat, doubles and all this kind of stuff. Anything that's going to differentiate you or make you look in a certain light. Any certifications you may have. A lot of us on this call are women-owned businesses, so that also looks great as well. We do offer them, again, like I told you, for $7.99. It's my advice to go ahead and let us do that for you, because we really do a good job. And a lot of times, if you try to just do it on your own, you might miss something, or just, it's a lot to these capability statements. So that's our take on that. I just kind of wanted to interject on that. I have like one more slide. So now that we can kind of like winding down on the presentation, get into the questions, I kind of want to go back and just go over. I know it's been a lot of information, and I know it's just a lot. So I'm going to pretty much kind of go through. For anybody who needs assistance, you guys, whatever you need, find out where you are on this chart. So initially after this, if you guys need additional help, you're going to schedule a consultation with me. Okay. Step 2 is going to be getting your capability statements and your websites. Again, you're not getting around that. You cannot even submit to any of these notices without it. So that would be the application. Once you guys purchase it on the website, the application will download. A lot of the information on the website, especially if you guys are new, once you make the purchase, you won't know a lot of the information, but that's fine. We will fill that in for you, which is why I need to have a consultation with you so I can kind of get a feel for where you're comfortable with. If you're not comfortable doing anything, we can kind of start you off with supplies. I just need to kind of know where you are so I'll know kind of where to meet you at. So step 3 would be, we will draft the website and capability statement for you. That website and that capability statement specifically is going to grow with you. You might not have any contracts right now. It's going to grow with you. So don't worry about what you don't have. Just worry about the end result. They change just like a resume would change. So once you get a couple notches under your belt, you're going to add to that. And then lastly, our Blueprint mentorship program is available. I took it off the site because too many people were skipping 1, 2, and 3, and they were going right to the mentorship. For anybody that's in the mentorship or desire to be, you have to have your capability statement and website already done, because in my mentorship program, we are looking at contracts day one. We meet every Thursday. We have contracting officers on. We have people like Mike come on. I'm always sharing information. I give them free access to the class. It's like 89 people in my mentorship program right now. So I know a lot of times when we do Zoom calls, sometimes people get kicked off based on the capacity. So instead of having them on the call tonight, I told them I would just save the taping and I'll put it on the class for them. But I did that because you guys were paying. So I didn't want anybody to get kicked off because of the mentees. But that's how you, pretty much that's the steps. So if you want to screenshot this form, you're going to have the website and capability statement in order to proceed with Mike. It's just, it's the name of the game. And let's just go over the next steps because I know it's been a lot of information. So depending on where you guys are, this is not for everybody. If you already have your name and you already have everything going, again, I recommend that if you want to do business in different sectors, if you want to do business with the federal government, the state, the local government, and you kind of want to branch off and do different things, you might want to have a general name. If you have Jones, Jones Solutions, nobody really can pinpoint if you do transportation, if you do, landscaping, if you do whatever. Hold on, somebody's asking me to go back to the last slide. I mean, we was on this slide for 7 minutes. Come on, y'all. Screenshot it and let's keep it pushing, okay? Yes, the mentorship is $99 a month. I do not ask any contract to be signed, but remember, because people love to act like I never say this, you have to have your consultation and you have to have your website and capability statement at least purchased. He's talking about the one before that. Come on, Simone. Which one, Simone? Capability statement? Because I'm doing this for you. Come on now, type. You have to have those things in line because when we are in that mentorship program, we are getting down to it. It's very possible that you guys can see something that you're familiar with, day one. Erica's on this line. Erica has like 13 trucks under her belt. So she could really see something in day one that she feels like she can pull off that she wants to go after. It doesn't make sense for me to have you guys in a program where you're paying monthly and you don't have the tools you need necessary to win. Nikita, I will need to see your capability statement because everybody thinks they have a good capability statement until they see ours, and that's no shade. It's just that if you guys don't really know how the government works and all of the different things you can do, you can kind of do yourself a disservice by trying to do something that you just really don't kind of know what you're doing all the way. Now, if you guys have the LLC, you have your general name, that's fine. You want to make sure you have your EIN number. None of these steps are bypassable. You can't bypass any of this, okay? All right, your DUNS. Again, your EIN, your DUNS is free also. If we do it, it's $2.99. Your capability statement and your website is $7.99. SAM's registration is $6.99. But it's also free if you guys want to do it. Again, some people are like, look, I don't want to do it. You do it. Make sure it's right and give it back to me and let's go. It's totally up to you. But they are free if you guys want to do it. If you want it done quickly and done right, you can pay us and we'll do it. Okay. Next thing you guys want to do is also, be thinking about what goods or services you want to provide, or you can do a mosh-up of all of them. I might provide some goods. I might provide some services. There's really no wrong way to do it. It's the federal government. It's about 170,000 of us contractors, period. But it's 8 billion people on the planet. So there's a lot of room for growth and expansion. Once you guys get in SAMS, you want to start researching the opportunities every day on Beta SAMS. If you want to get into the mentorship program, we show you guys how to set up a search so that you're not in there looking every day. A lot of us is just us, or maybe you have a partner. So we don't have a whole staff of people who can be looking for opportunities for us every day. That's why I love doing these classes, because I can bring you guys the opportunities right here, hot and now, ready to go. Yes, you have to have an LLC or S Corp or nonprofit. You have to have a legitimate business to do business with the government. Now, lastly, we didn't get into this, but once you guys start breaking down the notices, especially like on RFIs, which are requests for information, sources sought notices, or even on these regular supply notices, the government is going to want you to respond in some type of capacity. So you're going to probably have to give them some type of write-up, some type of, not necessarily a proposal, but it will have to be some type of write-up. We do have proposal templates on the site. We're actually making the price $3.99 today, because these are fillable templates. So a lot of times we're good with pricing, we're good with getting things done, but we're not strong in the writing area. I see this all the time. You'd be surprised how many people are deterred because they just don't know how to do an easy, simple proposal. This is actually a proposal that I myself, it's actually one of mine. It's fillable. You will need to tweak it according to what the notice asks for you. But the good thing about it is you guys can use that proposal over and over and over and over again. So I just want to kind of point that out. I'm never going to lead you guys anywhere that I can't get you back from. So we have the setup, we have the opportunities, we have the supplies, and we also have the capability statements and websites, and also the templates to write everything up. Keisha is asking about the certification for woman-owned. The certifications for woman-owned, the deadline was June, but it has been extended to October the 15th. So as soon as you guys can do it, go ahead and get it. It's a little bit off topic, but for anybody who's 51% owned by a woman, you want to get that certification because the government ain't crazy either. They also know that more of us are creeping in. So the line's going to change. It's going to keep getting farther and farther. We have to keep up with that. So you just want to make sure you have all your ducks in a row. Get your certifications as soon as possible. You don't want to wait. A lot of times we're just waiting. Get it done and get it done now so that you don't have to do it and you're already in. If you guys need additional assistance, you're going to have to schedule a consultation. I do group consultations on Monday nights for $199. If you want a one-on-one coaching session, they are $250. And then lastly, you're just going to submit to whichever opportunity you go out here and decide you want to go after. Again, you guys don't stop here. A lot of times we'll pay for something, invest in it, and then we just stop there. Mike is like the plug, right? Not on just masks and stuff, but you know, a full gambit of things. So now that you guys have a reputable supplier, you can go out and become the plug for other people. Go tell all your friends, have them go out and look for you. And now you become the plug to the plug. So you always gotta work it. So you can have people out here who, let's say your friend, you know, she works for a company. I had a guy, he came to me and he was like, hey, I can't really do anything with this. This company is looking for 1 million masks. You know, he turned me onto it. If that were to happen to you guys, let's say a friend came to you and said, hey, you know, I can't do nothing with this. Can you do it? You can take it to Mike and you can make a couple dollars off of it. So don't stop here. You guys want to keep on going. We're going to take questions for a little while, but I've just renovated my backyard and I plan on going out there, spending the remainder of the evening in my backyard. So we're not going to be on this call all night. I'm seeing a lot of the questions in the chat. I'm going to briefly go over them. Then you say we need to have everything else set up for our business before we do the woman's own. Yes, you have to be registered in SAMS in order to do your woman-owned certification. So it goes your company name, LLC, or S Corp, EIN, DUNS, SAMS, then you get your certifications. Let's see what else is up here. Oh, y'all have been answering each other's questions. All right. Now,
this is wonderful, guys.
Okay. There's over 100 of us up here. So I'm going to take questions for a little while. I just ask that you guys take your phones off mute. Try to stay on topic, guys, because this is a certain class about a certain thing. The certifications is fine, but we don't want to be too off kilter because we want to be fair to what the class is about. Samantha said, is Mike going to finish? Damn, Samantha, he talked for 45 minutes. What else y'all want to know? Now, I also don't want to get into I don't want to give you guys a consultation on this call. People like to say, well, I got an EIN and I did this and that. You're going to have to schedule a consultation. Like, we're not here for your personal, what you got going on. That's not being fair to everybody else. So we're trying to ask vague questions so that everybody can get the benefit of your questions. If you have a question, let's just schedule a consultation another day. But we're trying to make sure that everybody gets what they came for. Y'all laughing. I mean, I'm just saying I have to keep this show running. Mike, do you have anything you want to add while there? Type your questions in the chat, you guys, and we'll while he's finishing up. I don't know if you wanted to add anything, Mike. Are you on mute, Mike? Oh, he's on mute. Hold on.
Okay, now I'm unmuted, right? Okay. So I just want to thank you guys for being in this class. And Casey, thank you very much for extending me the opportunity to sit in with you guys. It's really been amazing. And so so right now it's 5:52 our time. One moment.
Like, are those your kids in the background?
No, these are some kids. I'm actually gonna shut the window.
Oh, some kids outside? Ain't nobody being harmed, are they? Okay.
No.
Might have to put your tape on, okay?
So right now, Casey, where are you? What time zone are you?
Eastern Standard.
Eastern Standard. So it's about 8:00, 9:00 your time.
Almost 9, yeah.
Yeah. So right now it's 5 our time. In China, it's also 9 a.m. So my phone is starting to buzz.
Mike, put your IG in the chat too, please.
Oh, my IG. Keith can put in the chat if you can.
Put in the chat. You can apply, you guys, to as many contracts as you guys can handle in 1 week. There's no limit on any of this. There's no time in business required. So, like I just said, if you don't have any business at all, you can set your stuff up today and in 2-3 weeks be gone.
So my partner, Kenneth Chang, he's actually sending me a bunch of samples. And so my phone starts to populate at this time. One key thing is you guys want to orient yourself to Chinatown. A lot of the business, the negotiation will happen around like this time. Right now, they've just woken up in China. It's 9:00. And a key thing, one of the reasons why deals get pushed back is because the negotiation is not happening on their time. Let's say if right now they're waking up, they want a will and deal. If you send someone an email and then clock out until tomorrow morning your time, 8:00, you're gonna miss a lot of stuff, a lot of information, a lot of communication back and forth. So that FEMA deal, it got pushed back, right? That's why it got canceled. It's pushed back a few days. Some of the deals that I've seen happen get pushed back because people are not oriented to the time that the sellers are doing business. You need to be oriented to the sellers doing business. Another key piece of game, hospitals, they're buying departments are out to lunch. They want to make one PO for the whole week. And that's why they don't get things. Whereas a lot of times the state's buyers and the state suppliers, who are they? They're you guys. They're on their get, trying to secure that bag. And that's why a lot of these state hospitals have more PPE than the private hospitals. I want you guys to notice that. A lot of people make fun of going to the county hospital. I know nurses who are traveling nurses who work at county and have more PPE than working at another private hospital. So it's those who are on their get who are going to get the bag. I want you guys, my bandwidth sometimes is very, very tight, but Keith, exactly. So Keith is gonna also put, I'm gonna put my IG is Wogu Winning. I'm gonna type in the chat, WOGU, WINNING. Bam. All right. And Keith is also gonna be, Keith is one of my partners, and he also helps me with the band, with making sure messages and people's contacts don't fall through the cracks. Because it's been a doozy. But like I said, I'm happy to see a lot of us getting it and working to help people out one PPE item at a time. We're saving the world one mask at a time. That's my running slogan now. But someone said, like, I'm confused. You say you don't ask for price.
Hold on, Mike. Creighton the King said, Mike, I'm confused. You said don't ask about the price first. So when it comes to Fed contracts, let's take the info. No. Okay, so basically, I'm gonna just speak to this for a second. Mike is basically saying, just like he's a reputable supplier and you're going to be a reputable buyer, that has to go like this. It has to make sense. Nobody's about to tell you they can come up with 2 million masks and you don't have a real buyer. Just like you don't want somebody to tell you they have 2 million masks and they don't really have it. So you kind of vetting each other. You are getting these opportunities from the government. So when you go to Mike, you're probably getting an overview of what his capacity is, how much he can deliver, what his turnaround time is, and all the specs about his company so that you can go back and sell that to the government in your write-up. Once the government feels comfortable that you can deliver, then they will come back and they will ask for particulars like pricing, all the, nuances of what a deal, should encompass. So you're basically vetting, well, you don't have to vet Mike because, I mean, he's clearly, capable, but that's what he means.
Vet me.
Yeah, you bet him. Listen, I've seen the paperwork. You trust me, it's more than legitimate. Lynette, if you want the package, go to www.thecomfortcircle.com. And I'll put that in the chat. Look under products and it will be there. It's called the website suite. And you want to purchase that, application will download to you. Again, you guys probably won't be able to fill out everything, but that's why you have me here. Remember to go look over in nakes.com just to get familiar with some codes you may want to have. But me being me, I'm going to give you guys some additional codes because I know that you guys don't know. When you go to search those codes, you may be like, what is this? But you have to trust that I know better than you right now. And I know the government puts stuff in codes that it doesn't always make sense. So I would rather you guys have more codes than not enough codes.
Okay, so someone asked the question, how do you start off selling as a beginner with lack of funds? Well, remember, Casey is able to get you guys the website,
right,
get you guys looking pretty. That's first and foremost.
Right.
Once you are looking pretty and you're able to look for these different codes and apply, they're going to contact you. You don't need to put up your own money to personally buy. They're contacting you to buy and to set it up for them. So one of my mentors told me, you need to stop telling people what you have. This is a while ago. You need to ask them to show you proof of funds. Or, as Casey was saying, give me that award letter. What's the price, Mike? Well, you should know the market price. What do you want? Because they can't, the thing is this, they can't get it. They can't get anything. And they can't hold it. Remember, think about this. Many states, there's one state that I'm talking to right now, they need 60 to 100 million masks. They said, Mike, the only bad mask is the mask that can't hang on your face. Whatever mask it is, we wanted to see the legitimate paperwork. And we need 3 to 5 million masks per month for the next 6 months, which is about 60 to 100 million. And they have the capacity. They need it. They're mandated to have the stock, and they don't have the stock. And they've gotten burned because they've sent money to someone else who said they can get it, and they couldn't get it or didn't arrive. So it's not about, you don't have to, what you have to be able to do is verify, get them on the, make sure they are right, in sync with you. Because if they say we need to buy this is our budget, and that ability comes up at 2 p.m., I'm just giving an example, 2 p.m. China time, which they're asleep, you better be able to push that button and buy. Once you are cleared to buy, you gotta be able to push that button or do something where that stock and that rate is held to buy, make that buy. Some stock comes stateside. For instance, we have some masks that we have stateside, some K95s, and we're able to show you that it's legitimate and it's verified and it works. Remember, everyone needs it. There's businesses that cannot open until they have their workers with PPE.
That's right.
Right?
That's right.
So,
that's a good point. Let me just say that too. Like here in Virginia today, we're opening back phase 1, but people are still walking around with masks on. I know California is not open up. So this stuff is still going to roll out. So you guys still have an opportunity for months to come. I don't know how long it's going to last, but like he just said, the way we go do business with each other now is going to change. So masks are going to steadily be needed, gloves, all that kind of stuff. So you guys just want to take this bull by the horns and ride it. You know what I'm saying? Like, use this information because everybody's going to still need this stuff. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
Dimple D Goddess asked a question. How much does it cost for 1 million masks? Okay.
Tread light, Mike.
I know. I'm going to say.
Tread light.
Now, what was the article? There was an article that came out that FEMA disregarded some masks, right? What was the deal for? $55 million, right? How many masks? It says in the article, 10 million masks. So do the math. That's how much they were going to buy those masks for.
And that's them. Like, that has nothing to do with you guys. Like, that's their deal. You guys are going to be separate. There's no one size fits all. You guys are doing, they might have done business with one agency. You guys may be doing business with another agency. Remember, this stuff comes out every day for all the agencies in the world. You're talking about DOD, DOF, DOI, DOD, NASA, Spa War, Army, Navy, Coast Guard. Like, you may never do business with whoever that deal was from. So you just got to remember, every situation is different. And this is just about project management. Somebody said in the chat, it's basically like being a broker. Basically, that's what you're doing. You're just, we don't call it brokers. We call it project managers and managing your project. So it's just a very high level way of doing business. And this is how most of us make millions of dollars in this arena right here.
Someone asked a great question. Erica asked a great question. She said, AliExpress and Alibaba have some masks for 1 to 4 cents. Be careful. Be careful. Those masks on Alibaba and AliExpress that's not the real price. Not the real price. Guys, I'm gonna end. I want you to. I want you to hear one of my contacts had given a call. Here, some people have the question. They wonder if I actually really do.
I'm sorry. Well, hold up. What you say, Mike? Somebody wonder what?
People wonder, how does this dude speak Chinese? You know,
the same way you speak any other language.
Julie 老板 你好，你好。
哎，你好，你好。
哎，我要。
Any news?
对啊，我现在在上课。I went in the class with 100 different people, 111 different people who are looking to buy PPE. And so I'm just telling them about the opportunities. Julie, can 他们 hello?
Yeah, okay.
Hello, 他们在听你. They're listening to you.
Oh,真的? Thank you. Hello, everybody.
Hi.
Yeah. So, Julie,
okay.
他们是100多, it's 111, 112 people on Zoom. 我们在上课，告诉他们这个 PPE 怎么样啊？怎么卖？对。
对，好的。那你就先上课吧。本来你说可能Las Vegas的客户会来还是不来，所以我也。
Yep. So, know what she's asked? I want you guys to hear.
Just let me know, okay?
好 ，OK， 好，
好 ，take care, you guys.
好
，OK，
bye. Thank you.
So she asked. So we had a young lady, one of the people in your, I think in your, I'll give her a shout out, was Tempest. She and her husband called me. They're from Las Vegas. They're in Newport, and they called me to inquire about some PPE. And so Julie's one of my Chinese contacts. And so we're going to go to the warehouse after this class. And Julie would just call me to confirm if that meeting was still on. So, Tempest, if you're listening, that was Julie calling you to confirm. So.
Okay, you heard it here first, guys. Okay. Are we, y'all convinced or no? Okay. Are y'all convinced or no? This is basically what we've done for you guys. And I'm not taking credit because I knew Mike previously. So this kind of just aligned. Basically, we've put this already together for you because as contractors, we are charged with the task of going out here and scouring the whole world to find what other people can't. So right now it's a crisis. So basically, I've already brought the work to you. You don't have to go out looking. You don't have to do this and do that. He's already right here. He's knowledgeable. Once you guys decide that you're gonna, deal with him, you will see a lot of the paperwork. I have seen the paperwork. Like he has the actual certificates from the factory. He has the actual white list. I mean, he has all the stuff documented. And that's the stuff that you want to put in your write-up to make the government feel comfortable with, you know, what you're providing. They know that you're middleman in this stuff. This is perfectly legitimate. This is what America's based on, capitalism. Buy low, sell high. So you got to get yours too. So they want to feel confident that whoever you're dealing with can supply, and they are, you know, legitimate, and they can make it happen. So I really, you know, I appreciate you for coming on. Yes, Mike.
Right. Guys, put the onus on. Once you get them on the, once you get past the you know, once you get them to respond back to you, get them on the phone and get the onus on them to tell you exactly what they want. Because, you know, put the pressure on them. Put the pressure on them to say, oh, we say, okay, what kind of mask do you want? K95. Okay, which kind? Oh, K95. What are you guys looking for? Ask them to put the onus, because then they will commit themselves. And, you know, I've gotten the phone with people and they say, look, Mike, we understand what's going on with the list. We understand the fluctuation with the lists. We know about, you know, the different, you know, grades of masks. Look, we don't care. We need all of it. We need the good to the bad, and we need everything in between. What can you provide, and when can you deliver? We need to know that, you know, and be realistic. Let us know what you can do. Don't oversell it and underdeliver. We need you to let us know what can you do. So put the onus on them. Don't just remember this is a seller's market. This is they might try to play hardball, but they need to buy from you. People are in their backside cranking their arm. Hey, we need you to secure this stuff. So the ball is really in your court. They have to buy. You don't have to sell. That's the best place to be in. There's no terms. Everyone's hurry up and buy. Take my cashier's check. Take my wire. This is the best place to be in. And then you could do this all, you know, sheltered in place.
Also, you guys want to include in your write-up that you are a woman-owned company. If you have any certifications that you, you know, lean on those certifications. I would not be in the situation I'm in right now if I didn't have certifications. I'm good, but I'm not that good, because the government knows that we don't get the same access to the same opportunities. So you have to use perceived disadvantages to get where you want to be. I'll be a double minority all day long because it pays very well. So in your write-ups, you want to use that. Don't reinvent the circular wheel. Like, you don't have to go out here and bang your head against a brick wall trying to figure this stuff out. It's already laid out. We're already here. We already have it all ready to go. Again, the proposal templates are fillable. So just use it, put it to the side. You'll still have the blank. If you want to go after something else, use it and copy and paste and tweak as they ask. I'm just looking at, type your questions in the chat, because while he's finishing up, I'm going to be answering them so that we can cut down on time. Go ahead, Mike. I'm sorry.
No, that was mainly it, you know.
They're talking about plexiglass. I need y'all to stay on topic in the chat, okay? We're trying to get a lot of us up here, so I like this little side comments. It's funny, but let's try to stay on topic, guys, to get to the questions that people really have, because this is really good information. I know it's a lot, but you guys just got to grab the general premise. Mike is the plug, helping you become the plug. So through his, you know, you just saw him speaking. What was that? That wasn't Cantonese, was it?
Mandarin.
Mandarin, through his connections, through his comings and goings and his dealings, he's able to help you guys supply not only the federal government, but the state and the local government also. There's also probably some private opportunities also, because again, everybody is looking for this.
Yeah.
Y'all nosy as hell. What deals have y'all? This is a deal right here we're doing together. What you mean? Jaden, y'all nosy. This is a deal right here we're doing together. This is a deal. To get over 100 Black and brown people on a call talking about contracts is a deal.
Important. That's an important deal.
It's a very important deal. You satisfied?
Deal. Where else is that happening?
It don't happen.
Where else is that happening?
It happens in my mentorship class. I mean, there's some of us out here doing the work. Erica, she does it. I mean, some of us doing it, but this is not what you see typically all of us talking about this kind of stuff. We don't even have access to this information. They don't show this stuff on BET. They don't show it on MTV. They don't show it on Bravo. They don't show it on CNN. They're not showing you, telling you, they're not giving you this information.
Even on The Apprentice, they're not showing you this. You know, so people ask me, why did I go to China for the first time? And the reason why is because when I was in business school, the hot show was The Apprentice. Before Celebrity Apprentice was the Apprentice. And I thought to myself, all right, just wishful thinking. If I was ever on that show, what would my superpower be? I didn't come from a school with a big alumni base. I wasn't a master salesman. I didn't have a big business before. But what would I be able to do? And so I was just thinking, okay, if I was intimately involved with the world's production capital, maybe I would have, you know, a superpower, an ability, an asset when I got into that show. That show was basically, you know, a show of high-level scavenger hunting. That's basically what it is. You know, you get on the hunt and you provide, you know, complete the task. And so right now, we have the ability, guys, to show and prove, basically be on The Apprentice and go faster than everyone else. This is I don't like that people have died during this COVID season. It's really a big shame. But look how many of us are on this class. Look, I'm gonna go through the pages, 6 pages. I'm on the second page. I'm on the third page.
Kind of stuff doesn't even happen. Like, let me just share something else with y'all. I'm so sorry, Mike.
So many people.
Yeah.
Where do you see all of us putting our minds together to grind? This is a beautiful thing.
You don't see it. And let me just say something to you guys also. I was talking earlier about your local and state governments. So when we pay taxes into programs for minority companies, woman-owned companies, yada, 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 right? Well, in a lot of towns, now trust me, I know because I took every class here you can take, there's a threshold. You have to at least be making $250,000 to get the free training. Well, what if you're not making $250,000? I just happened to be in trucking, so I was making money. I was also spending it, so don't be fooled by that, okay? What about somebody who hasn't made but $80,000, $70,000, $100,000? Does that mean you're not qualified? Shouldn't you get access if you're a small business and you're a minority and there's money set aside? Shouldn't you get the same chance to get this, you know, information? But in a lot of towns, you have to have been making a certain amount of money. So I was one of the lucky ones. I was making that, but what about everybody that isn't? You wouldn't have gotten any of the training. So we try to bring that to you to fill the gap, because just because you haven't made $250,000 a year yet doesn't mean that you're not qualified to go out here and do supplies or whatever it is else that you're offering. At the end of the day, if you do trucking, you're doing trucking. Whether you're doing it for Walmart, Target, or NASA, it's all trucking. That doesn't really change. What does change is your capacity to earn and your customer. So a lot of you guys are working off the load boards, random loads every day. You can't grow a company like that. You get a contract for 4 or 5 years where you know what you're making, you're able to sub out some of the work, or you can buy more equipment based on the work that you're going to be given. That's how you really grow and expand. So I just kind of wanted to talk to that a little bit, because I know sometimes if you really haven't, it took me 13 years to get to this point. I was going to every class, every training you could go to. Sometimes it worked out, sometimes it was a waste of my time. But I also know a lot of people weren't making $250. So I'm trying to come back and give you guys information that you might not even know exists, or if you're not making that much yet, it's not even available to you. So this is a very cool thing to have all of us minorities, you know, Black people, brown people, yellow people, women-owned companies on this call. This is huge.
Yes, and it's my honor and pleasure to be amongst you guys this evening, and let's get it in. Let's secure that bag.
A lot of you guys are asking, do you reach out to Mike independently? Yes, please do. He's the plug. He's going to, you know, how do you want him to reach out to you, Mike?
Well, Keith has put a link in there. It's not really clickable. If you can, Keith, please put this link, give this link to Casey. I'm gonna try to copy it. But this link, it's a simple link that we developed for this. And I'm gonna give it to Casey. Which one are you? I'm looking.
You guys have to have, this is a lot of common questions we get that I'm just trying to go over. You're not going to get by with these P.O. boxes, or you have to have a real address. This is government contracting. The same way y'all wanted y'all stimulus checks, okay, and you file your taxes. If the government wants you and you walk around with a cell phone or credit card, you are not low key, okay? So y'all kill me with the, do I got to have it? Yes, you have to have an address. It's not uncommon that most of us work from home. That's what we do. A lot of us work from home because we hire companies, large, medium, or small, to do the work for us. So, you know, all that, do I have to have an address? Ain't nobody looking for you, Otis, okay? Like, put your address up there and get busy, okay?
But yeah, we Keith made a link that you guys can fill out, put your name and all the information in there and what you guys needed. You'll see it. Casey, I actually sent you this link privately. I think Keith put in the chat.
Keith put it in the chat. If you guys look up Keith Tutts, he put it in the chat. He does have COVID. So okay, so let me just say this, because people like ask the same question. Mike's source is from China. Sources means I'm looking for stuff, I'm finding it from China. So pretty much whatever, it's not just COVID supplies, it's not just masks, it's not pretty much anything you guys are looking for, he can also help you with that, okay?
And I actually, and you know, we're locked in place right now. But what Casey was speaking about before, I actually take groups to China to further their relationships. For instance, if you were buying from a supplier you guys had never met, or you only had video chatted, I actually take you over there, and I teach you some of the nuances. There's six steps that we go through before you go to get you ready to. The first step is getting your mind right. Second step is the art of the reach out. Third step is art of communication and opening up, you know, your ability for commerce and communication and currency. Fourth step is leaning on them for leverage to build your trip out. We do a bunch of steps, and then sixth step is a table etiquette. Because a lot of the deals, so in China, a lot of the deals are not made on in the conference room. They're made around the dinner table, and you have to know that kind of etiquette to basically make your manufacturing host or supplier look good and make them proud to show you off to their friends, so you can go down what I call the relationship rabbit hole. So you went over there with one contact, and you leave with like 10. That's the way. That's what I take people, and I'm really passionate about that, because you guys going back and forth with them online is one thing. When you go over there, your creativity expands, because you're like, oh my God, I could do this and that and this and that and this, and then you're on a whole nother level. And so that's what I like doing. That's what I do at least a couple times a year. But now we're locked in place. We got to save the world one mask at a time. But that's what I do.
That's about it. So just kind of wrangling you guys back. I'm gonna go back to my visual here. Can you help me out? Good assistant over there. I know it's a lot of information, but you guys you're really just getting the premise. You're setting up your company. I showed you guys some opportunities. I showed you also how to go about looking at more opportunities. These things come out every day. Hooked you guys up to a very knowledgeable, reputable supplier. And I just kind of want to go down the steps again with you guys, because you're not going to be able to circumvent these steps. LLC or S Corp. My recommendation is, if you don't already have one, just get a general name, because again, I never thought I would have got a sizable contract for doing another kind of transportation. So you don't know where you're really going to hit it big on this side. Your EIN number, we talked about that. That's free. Your DUNS is also free, but if you want us to do it for you, we do charge $299. You are going to need your capability statement and website. There is no way around that. Nobody's about to give you $1 million, $500,000, and you can't show them anything on paper. We sell the bundle for $799. Our SAMS registration is actually $699. That's a typo, sorry guys. But if SAMS is free, if you guys feel like you can walk through it, decide on what goods or services you want to, go after. You can do a gambit of things. With this, you guys don't need a whole lot of EIN numbers and LLCs. Remember, you can do business based off the NAICS code. So you don't need to go get 2 and 3, 4 LLCs. One LLC or one S Corp will take care of it. research the opportunities. Once you get registered in SAMS, you will have access to beta SAMS where you can then go and create a search. Let the search work for you. So every night at about 9 or 10 o'clock, the searches come out. They'll download to your email based on the, the code you said you wanted information on. And that's going to be that. After all this is said and done and you have everything in motion, you're going to still need some type of template or some kind of write-up to respond to these notices or any others that you may choose to deal with in the future. We do have them on our website right now. They're on sale today for $3.99. They're fillable. You can save them and use them instead of trying to, conjure up your own base from scratch. A lot of us do it. We just use templates and then we plug and play as we go. After the call, you guys, if you want to, go through the program and the mentorship and all of that, you'll need to schedule either a group consultation, which I do hold on Mondays nights at 7 p.m. Eastern, or a one-on-one coaching session. They are paid only and solely through Cash App. That's it. I'm not talking about 8A tonight. Sorry. We're just on something else. And this is just a lot of information. And let's see, I think that's it. You guys really, sometimes I just don't know if people know what we're really giving them. Sometimes I do, sometimes I don't. But in either way, Mike, you really don't get any better than Mike. A lot of the supplies right now are coming from China, and a lot of people can't even get them because, like he said, a lot of the warehouses are closed down. You have to have those relationships. So again, I just want to thank you, Mike, and Keith for joining our class. If you guys need them, please reach out to them. Their stuff is in the chat. He gave you his IG, which is @WoguWinning. I have already set aside this entire week to help you guys if you need any additional help. My staff is ready to do you guys' capability statement and websites. Now, here's the thing, guys. And y'all know how I get, okay? I make myself available. We give you guys the opportunities. I want y'all to respect my time and my wishes just like I'm going to respect y'all. I make myself available to schedule these consultations with you. So I don't answer questions by DM. Sometimes people will screenshot me like one of their SAMS pages and they'll be like, well, what do I put? That's not a question I'm going to answer by text. It's just not. And then if you answer one question, people don't know how to stop. So you can schedule time with me or that's it. It's no coming in my DM asking me a bunch of questions. Like, I'm not doing that. Mike put Keith Tutt will be the first point of contact. His information and their link is in here as well. And with that being said, I expect you guys to go faster and farther than me. And thank you, Mike. I appreciate you for attending this class.
It's been a pleasure. It's been very inspiring.
Oh, thank you. I appreciate that.
Really?
So in the near future, you guys, we are going to take some trips to China. I did talk about that. You'll see it posted. We kind of got to let this thing, unravel and just see, how this plays out. But Mike's been trying to get me to go now for a year, so I think now's the time. And with that being said, I'm going to retire to my backyard. You guys can go where the hell out of Mike. Okay? Mike, thank you. I appreciate it so much.
Thank you, guys. 谢谢你们.
谢谢你们. I don't even know what the hell I just said, but all right.
Yes, thank you, guys.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.